Good morning. Welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Derek Dunphy from Aquascape, and nice to have you on the show. We're outside, and we're in September officially now. We want to address having these beautiful ponds and lovely layouts that people have in their backyards these days. And one thing is, we know this time of year we start to lose that daylight. And we know right from summer solstice, it's slowly going on us.
Absolutely.
Never mind as we approach fall.
Right.
So you have some really great ideas, very high quality lighting that we want to talk about to help, again, not only make your garden look beautiful, but give you a little bit more light as the sun's going down earlier.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because the nights are getting longer and the temperature's just right for sitting out on the patio.
Yes.
And really enjoying your garden and enjoying the pond. Some summer nights, you know, it gets a little stuffy.
Yeah, that's right. Summer nights sometimes could be full of bugs and quite humid and heavy, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Fall is when you want to get out there.
It's my favorite time to be on the patio.
Sure.
You might even want to get a little fire pit going. But we're going to talk about some lighting that we have available here as the nights get longer.
Okay.
And they're vastly improved over the old lighting that used to be available years ago. Aquascape this year made it even better.
Okay.
So the older lights used to be halogen lights.
Yes.
They worked really well, but they burned a lot more power than the newer lights do, and the bulbs would burn out. And in a pond, it's not so easy to change the bulb.
No kidding.
So you got to make sure that you have enough wire on your fixture so that you can, you know, lift it out and above the
Sure.
water line and change the bulb. And then oftentimes people wouldn't seal it back properly all the way, or some water would get in there and it would reduce the life of the bulb. And so we've gotten rid of all of those problems, and we feel really good about our new lights because they come with a 5-year warranty.
Okay.
And the bulbs are expected to last 40,000 hours. So if you use the bulb
Wow.
8 hours a day, 365 days a year for almost 14 years, you'd still get full light. And after that point, they'd start to dim
Sure.
a little bit.
Sure.
And they'd go down to about 70% strength and eventually down to 50.
Wow.
But for 5 years, even if a bulb goes out, bring the whole thing back in, we give you a whole new fixture. So they're epoxy encapsulated LEDs. What used to use 10 watts of power is now 1 watt of energy. What used to use 20 is now 3 watts.
So efficient.
And
So
our
good.
big ones that you would use for uplighting a huge tree or the side of a, you know, several of them on the side of a large kind of estate home, those ones used to be 60 watt bulbs. Now we do that with a 6 watt bulb.
Wow.
Big energy
Come a long way.
savings. Yeah, they come a long way.
And as you said, it's, you know, a lot of times when people set these up in their gardens, they have them all over the place, right?
Right.
And the last thing you want to do is having to go fish through some areas to go and change a bulb. So
Right,
now
right.
you don't need to do
No
that.
worries, no worries.
Neat.
I'm going to pick up one of the fixtures here and,
Okay.
and show you how they can work. So there's 3 ways our lighting works.
Okay.
We started as a pond company. So for most people, they're either using it like this on the bottom of the pond, on this stand, or if they want, they can take it right out of the fixture and just sit the light, kind of nest it in between the stones.
Sure.
What I like to remind people with lighting is we don't want to highlight the fixture. We're trying to use the fixture to highlight some other beautiful part
Right,
of your garden.
right.
And so it's a beautiful light, you know, we made it.
It is, but it's very subtle and very nice. It's
yeah.
simple and
But we've gone away from the chrome or something that draws attention to it. It's more of a subtle color, like you said.
good point.
And in a pond, what I always recommend to people is put them on the viewing side, shining away from you and into the pond, or kind of situate it underneath key things like a waterfall,
Yes.
or if you have a decorative piece in there that's kind of overflowing, you'll want to have one shining up on that, or have them on the patio side, shining in, not on the far side, shining towards your eyes.
you.
Right? Makes
Okay.
sense, but people don't think about it and they just
Right.
spread them evenly
Sure.
throughout the pond. But
Sure.
you really want them along
Okay.
one side.
Okay.
And like I said, they come in 1 watt, 3 watt, and 6 watts. Now, the best value is to buy a kit. A kit like this one here, the 3 light kit, will give you 3 smaller lights, 1 watt each, but it also gives you a photocell, which turns the lights on automatically.
That's
As it
great.
gets dark, you can set how long it's on for, 4, 6, or 8 hours. It'll turn on and off by itself. Again, burning very little energy, even if you're not at home. And it comes with a transformer as well. All of the outdoor lighting to make it safe to use underwater and just outdoor in general, they're all low voltage.
Okay.
And so a transformer is required.
Right,
So
okay.
what I like to do is
That's
that
the
the
transformer,
transformer
right?
that's included in the kit
Yes.
is 6 watts.
Okay.
And what you can do is you can use a little splitter off that transformer that's in the kit, and you can
Okay.
add 2 more 1-watt lights. So you could get up to 5 lights off the
Oh.
transformer in that kit.
Okay.
Or, like the one you've picked up
Or use
here,
this one.
yeah, the 12 volt, you can set up a couple of the larger lights.
Okay, so
if
lots
you-
of options there.
Yeah, lots of options.
So as you
there.
said, buying the 3-light kit is a great way to start though, and then you can kind
Good
of go
way to
from
start,
there.
for sure.
Because some people have, you know, just tiny little ponds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people have huge epic ones.
Right.
But I think the real interesting point of all of this is now we're calling them garden and pond spotlights because you can use them even if you don't have a pond.
Yeah.
These are really great lights to put in your garden.
They're durable enough to use underwater. They're certainly durable enough to
Sure.
use above ground.
I was going to say,
right?
if that's
So,
soaking underwater, you know
yeah,
it's going to.
Yeah, it's a great light fixture.
Okay, so if you were going to use that outside, again, not in the pond, you can use that stand, but you also have a stake that you can use as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So you'll just remove the flat part there. You'll have the stake go onto the bottom of that, and then you can still use. So I'm not going to take it all apart, but this
Sure.
would come off. That would go on in its place, and you can still position the light up and down and
That's
kind of
nice.
rotate it left and right to get it just right,
Right.
in your garden.
How awesome.
And I'd say for security purposes as well, just to remind people, I recommend every pond have at least 1 light in it because otherwise it's just a dark, wet hole in the middle of your garden in the middle of the night. So
That's actually
always
really-
recommend at least 1 light. So
Yes.
for safety purposes, you can see the pond there.
Right.
And for security purposes around the outside of your house, shining lights on the outside of the home not only looks great, but it's a lot harder
Well,
to
it
sneak up on a
accents-
house and
yeah, it
look
accents
through
the shady
windows.
parts,
and,
right?
Yeah,
The dark
absolutely.
areas.
Yeah. So
a very
I always
good point.
recommend it for that.
Very
as well.
good. And again, of course, we're talking about the different sizes, and they come in all different sizes, and it really helps with people deciding what they need to do. For some people have the tiniest backyards and the smallest little places, and you can still use accent lighting because it makes things look so much more beautiful.
Right. And the newer lights also are easier to install. So it used to be you'd have to strip the wire down and kind
Yes.
of wrap the cords on. Now everything is a quick connection, so you're just plugging in, plug and play.
That's what you
and
want.
yeah, very easy for the consumers to set up. We do have videos online though,
Okay.
with some great design tips
That's
and
awesome.
ideas. Just go to our website, Aquascape Inc., aquascapeinc.com, and there's a few videos on lighting. How to light your pond, how to light your garden.
Give some good tips.
And give you some tips and tricks.
Well, as you said, it's more of an artistic thing, and sometimes people just go with their natural instincts on it, but it's really more about, you guys know how to do it, so give good tips.
Yeah,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much. This is really,
Thanks.
really good. And next week we'll be on, and we'll be talking about closing down this thing, unfortunately, for winter.
Ready for
We
winter.
won't talk about that yet. All right,
Okay.
that's it for now. We'll have more Terra at home. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of Terra. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning, welcome to Terra at Home. We're here with Amii, and we're at one of our Terra locations right now, and we're talking about getting ourselves ready for fall outdoors. But the cool combination of this is having beautiful flowers and then also having edibles in there.
Yeah, something fun that we're doing
Sure.
at Terra this fall. edibles can be very boring looking. So adding color to
They
them,
can.
and they have a great purpose, but let's liven them up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what I always thought, it would be kind of a crossover of, hey, these plants might be kind of toxic to be in with a plant that I'm going to eat, but that's not the case.
No, it really, I mean, what it depends on is what you feed them with, what you feed your edibles with.
Right.
Exactly. So if you're going to put a chemical fertilizer in them, then
That could be a problem.
That would really be where I would say the toxicity would come.
Okay, so when you're planting, and we're talking about all these different options here, there's just so many beautiful arrangements, and it's so beautiful, the fall feel to this.
Yeah.
Let's start with the type of soil that we would use then.
Okay. Depending on what you're doing, if you're doing all edibles, using an organic container soil would be great. That would be the perfect thing to use. And you can use that for really anything that you're using, but you could also use just a container soil.
Okay.
So different arrangements that I've done, like this one here would be, I would say, an indoor arrangement. So it's got some indoor flowers in it, but it's also got some of your key fall herbs that you would use. So sage is in here.
Yes.
There's some thyme in here.
Thyme.
So those are ones that people seem to use through Thanksgiving and those winter hearty meals. So it just allows you to kind of have color with your herbs, right? So that you don't just have a green herb garden. You get to have some fun with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you're picking your herbs, and obviously because it's part of an arrangement now, and it's becoming more of a focal point, you have to be careful that you don't strip it all down right away, right?
Right.
So
And you
where
never
are you
should
pulling
strip
from?
it all down. If this is sage, you can just pick out your few leaves and you just pinch them off right where the leaf meets the stem.
Right. Okay.
So, and you won't even notice if you just pick a few random leaves off of it. Some
You're
of the
not
more
gonna
mature
notice.
ones, you won't notice at all.
Right.
And then we've got thyme here on the front, and that's something you would just pinch the ends off. So I just use my fingernails and I just pinch
Yes.
and pinch, and yeah, you really
Easy to
don't
do.
even notice that you've done that. And herbs actually benefit from being picked.
Okay.
So when you pick them, it encourages more growth. It's a good thing. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
So some other options of containers that we could do.
Different ones that I've done. This one here is actually could be more of an outdoor container. And what we've got at TERRA this fall is an edible line. So we've got our cold hardy veggies, our kales, we've got lettuce, we've got spinach and things like that. So adding them to a container with color. So I've chosen to use an actual colorful container.
I like that.
And then colorful gerbera, another colorful croton back here, and then I've added some kale. So
Kale's awesome because obviously we know it's a superfood.
Yes.
But look at the texture. Like
it's fun. It's very leafy and fun.
really
And
neat.
kale's available in like the purples and things like that. So
Yes.
you can really add color and texture to your container, and then you still get to actually pick this and eat it.
Okay, so again, now let's talk about picking with kale because I mean, again, you're going to have to be careful because I mean, I could take all of that off and make a salad with it.
Yeah.
And then what? You don't
kale-
want to do that.
No, you don't, because you want to keep it the whole season. And actually, kale's best when you start picking from the bottom.
Okay.
So pick the bottom leaves, and you just snap them off where they meet the plant.
Okay.
The bottom leaves mature fastest, so they'll be often your biggest leaves from the bottom up.
I
So
see.
you start
Okay.
taking the biggest leaves, and kale will actually continue to grow and grow. So, and it
Okay.
does well. Like it actually does great even when it's gotten a frost. So.
Wow.
There's
okay.
a kale over here. This is a different edible kale.
Oh, is that a kale?
That's a kale. So that's something, again, you'd pick from the bottom. I've thrown in a purple basil over here,
Yes.
and there's a pepper. This is actually a pepper
this
plant,
is
so
a
it'll
pepper
be
plant.
fruiting in the fall for you.
That is so neat.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? What a great idea. And I love, again, look at this container.
Yeah, the containers are
The
great.
containers are so fun. I find that really adds so much character
does,
to the
yeah.
plant, and it really can go with your style, right?
Yeah.
You've got here with this guy with the wooden box, and as you say, you can do the pails. I love
Yeah,
the watering
colorful
can.
watering can, yeah.
Now the watering can, tell me about what's in there.
That one's got some great fall herbs. The tall one is lemongrass, and then you've got your basil and your thyme. And basil's a great one for the fall because everybody's harvesting tomatoes. So your
Oh,
tomato
yes.
plants are full of tomatoes. You don't know what to do with them. You
Yes.
get to your bruschetta,
Yes,
your
you've got
yeah,
a lot
your
of
different
options when you
pastas
have
and things
basil.
like that.
So as you said, so you kind of do it like for the season. So you're planting herbs that make more sense to their time.
Yeah,
But is
exactly.
that one's just completely herbs?
That one's all herbs.
And you can see how awesome that is. Like that
Yeah.
is so pretty.
all summer I had my herbs growing in a container like that, and it was great because it just added a punch of color to my otherwise green.
I love
Right?
that. That is
Yeah.
such a great idea.
Yeah.
So again, when you're thinking about putting them together, you have some of the plants over here that again.
I just grabbed a few herbs that
Yeah.
I would maybe put together for fall. And it's funny, everyone has different things that you use in fall. So
Right.
a lot of people rosemary for potatoes and roasting all your root vegetables that you're harvesting. So that's always a fall favorite and very easy to grow, I should mention.
Okay. So again, with this one, where would you pick from?
You're just literally going to pick off your stems. So you're
Okay.
going to snap it right where the leaf meets the stem. It's a little bit
Okay.
harder to show.
Yes.
And then you've got your stems like this.
And that's okay.
And then when you're going to use it, people use it differently. You can strip the stem just by pulling it down with your fingers.
Yes.
And you can chop it up, or you can
Right.
leave full sprigs. And
Okay,
you can,
okay.
You know, stuff with full sprigs into your stuffing, things like that.
Okay, and these are actually really nice big leaves on this one.
Oh,
so-
it's a nice one,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is really good. Okay,
Yeah.
so and
the other fall staples are really your sage, because people use sage for their stuffings and things like that. So
Yep.
it is great. Parsley, one of the better garnishes, and you see people use it for their potatoes and things like that. And thyme really is a fall staple. You know, your
It
chickens
is.
and roasting and things like that. So that would be a good combination, and it's great. But again, I still love to add your different punches of color, your fall mums, things like that.
Well, I was just going to ask you. So mums, it is okay to be putting mums in with.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, isn't that interesting? So obviously there's certain plants that, as you say, can carry being outdoors versus one being indoors. And
Yeah.
you do have to be careful as we're getting into the cooler months.
temperatures. A lot of the herbs will tolerate right up to a frost. The ones I would say are sensitive are basil, and any of the softer tissued ones. But
Yes.
these hardier ones, like your rosemary, your sage, your thyme, they're hardy right until frost, for sure.
Okay, so we're talking about soil again as well. So make sure, if really, probably ideally would be to go with the organic soil just in general, right? If you
Whenever
are
I'm
gonna
using
have it.
edibles, I prefer organic soil. It's just a choice I'd make.
Yes.
And yeah, you can buy it in bags and amend it into your, like you can put it in a pot, you can use it indoor or outdoor, so very easy.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And then fertilizing.
I wouldn't worry too much about fertilizing in the fall season.
need
You
to.
can get some of your organic fertilizers, and that's what I would recommend using. Miracle Grow does an organic one that you can add to your soil.
Okay.
So something like that. But again, when you're in a shorter season like fall, I always say plant it how you want it, because the growing season is quite short. So I like to plant
That's
it
a
just
good point.
exactly how I'd like to see it. The herbs full. You know.
And you don't have to water quite as frequently if you're starting to get into the cooler temperatures as
No,
well, right?
you don't. When it's cooler and it's rainy, definitely you can reduce your watering, which is great. Yeah.
And then one other thing too, I guess, when you think about it, you know, if you did have your herbs growing actually into a garden bed, you could just, you know, add some mums in there with them and add some of the flowers,
course,
outdoor flowers
Yeah.
in with them to kind of change up the season a little bit. for
And if they
yourself.
are planted in a garden bed, this is definitely a great time to start harvesting. So any of your herbs that you have planted, you can start actually cutting them and drying them. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you find that herbs flourish better in a bigger space when they're in a bed like that versus in a pot?
some do, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
definitely some do. Some are perennial and will come back every year for you, too.
Okay,
So-
and so the best thing is once we do get into those colder months, make sure you do bring all of your herbs in and have them in your kitchen, have them available
Oh, of
to
course,
you.
yeah.
And that's the great part about being able to do something like that. You can bring all of this in when you need to.
Yes, you
and,
can.
And enjoy the beauty from the inside. Yes, thank you so much, Amy.
No
Good
problem.
stuff.
Thank
All
you.
right, we'll be back with more Terra at Home. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of Terra. Make your dreams come true at Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
The Hamilton Spectator. At work, at home, or on the go. Read us online, in print, or download us to your e-reader. Get the Hamilton Spectator any way you want it.
Good morning, welcome back to Terra at Home. We're here with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton, and we are doing a fish dish today.
We are. So it's World Peanut Day. So I decided to do something with
Right.
peanuts.
Very,
And you know what?
Very thoughtful of you.
And, and you know what? Peanut is one of those nuts that's being forgotten about now because of all the allergies and everything that you have to be careful with. But you know what? It does have just such a great flavor. So I thought we'd try
love
to
it.
do something with that. Yeah.
Yes, for
it's-
those people who can consume peanuts,
That's right.
this is for you.
That's right. So what we have, and any fish will work. Okay, you need something mild flavor because you do want that peanut to jump out.
Okay.
So any mild fish would work. This one here is ocean perch fillets.
Okay.
Okay. You can do fillets if you want to do steaks. You can do steaks as well, halibut steaks or something like that. But I got ocean perch fillets.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to season all the fish. So a little bit of pepper and A little bit of salt. Now the peanuts that I bought were roasted, unsalted.
Okay.
Okay, I try to find most of the stuff that I like to cook with. I try to find unsalted. That way, I can add the salt and
noticed
control
that.
it
That's
all the
actually a
way
good
through.
tip.
So,
Question for you: when you buy fish, should you rinse it?
you shouldn't have to.
Okay.
If you have questions whether or not it is as fresh as you'd like it, rinse it in cold water very quickly.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt.
Okay.
Especially if you see, the only time I would suggest doing is if you see it laying up against, sometimes at a fish counter they'll have fish fillets laying up against, say, calamari or cuttlefish or
I
something like
see,
that.
yeah.
Maybe that I would definitely rinse.
Okay. Okay.
Just because you can cook fish a little bit less than, say, some of the seafoods.
Okay. Fresh fish in your fridge when you bring
Yes.
it home. Day, 2 days.
The sooner you eat it, the better it is.
just eat it.
Yeah, I would say,
Don't
you know
even-
what, fish is one of those that you buy, think about that night's dinner, maybe the next day at the latest.
That's what
Try
I'm
not
thinking.
to
I
keep
think
any
about it as
longer.
I'm going to have it tonight.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
okay.
And that's the best policy when it comes to fish.
Yeah.
You know, the fish that you get should be brought in that night.
Okay.
So if it was caught the day before, I mean, you can almost have it as fresh as it would be if you were living on the East Coast or something like that. So,
Wow.
I mean, the sooner you eat it, definitely
Yeah,
the better
okay.
would be.
So what are you bathing it in
So
right
then, now I have buttermilk.
Butter.
Okay, and so I did flour first, then buttermilk,
Okay.
and now I'm going to hit it into the peanuts. We're going to coat that. There we go. And I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to repeat it with all 3 fillets.
So again, roasted, unsalted, and that's it. So you just did the flour, you seasoned, flour,
right. Yep.
buttermilk, peanuts.
Peanuts. That's
Nice.
it. Yep,
pretty
nice and simple.
straightforward.
Now, traditionally peanuts are used in a lot of Asian dishes. So
Yes.
this one I am putting a slight Asian flair to it. I'm going to be doing it with some bean sprouts. I have a little bit of lemon thyme that we're going to be using. And the bean sprouts, we're going to cook them in sesame seed oil, which is going to add
That all kind of works.
yeah, a little smokiness to it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
there's another one. And we'll get the third one here.
We're in a greenhouse, so obviously we have some
Yes.
visitors. They're like, I want some of this.
Yeah.
Some little
They
bugs.
don't get it cooked for us. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happens when you're kind of cooking outside, right? You're gonna have to
That's
deal
right.
with the elements.
Okay, so we have all the fish coated, and I have my skillet on here. Now I'm going to put a little bit of oil into the skillet.
And what kind of oil do you suggest using?
This one I'm using is coconut oil.
Coconut. I love cooking with coconut oil.
I'm sorry, canola oil.
Oh,
I'm
canola.
sorry.
Okay.
That-
Okay.
You
I
could have
love
used
it.
coconut.
Can you
That's
use
why I had it.
coconut? Okay.
With
good.
this dish, it would work really
Particularly
well.
especially if there's a bit of flavor
That's
to
right.
it would work.
That's
right.
right.
Okay.
And then I'm adding a little bit of butter. You know what? I think anytime you cook fish and butter, it just has a.
I know.
It's a natural combination. So.
Okay. So doing that combo of a bit of canola and butter.
Yeah, because
Very good.
what the canola will do will increase the smoking point of the butter, so you don't get that burnt flavor.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's okay. I see that. Now I've noticed you do that before. So
Yeah.
you have reasons for everything. This is
I
good.
do.
You're not just making this up.
So I'm going to put the fish in. Now I don't have it on very high. You have to be careful whenever you cook with any sort of nut. You have to be careful because the nuts have a certain amount of oil.
Right.
You know, you can get peanut oil, you can get cashews and stuff like that. So anything that has an oil like that, a nut that has oils in it, will burn once the oil starts heating up. So you have to be very careful at what temperature you cook this at.
Okay. So keep it low.
Keep it
and
low.
the fish is going to cook quite quickly anyway, right?
Yeah, especially the fillets. I mean, if it's
Yes.
a steak, you might want to think about putting it into the oven
Sure.
afterwards. You know, you can finish it in the oven. But because they're fillets, we are going to keep it nice and low and then just cook the whole thing right here on the stovetop.
Okay. Now, again, as you say, I like the idea of using peanuts. Now, some people are only allergic to peanuts.
That's right.
Right. So, you could. What would be a good alternative nut? What would you think?
You know what? I really like cashews.
Yeah.
I like cashews. They're a little bit more velvety. They're a little bit milder in flavor. So I do like cooking with those as well.
Okay.
That would work. If not, if you want to go something a little bit more, a little drier nut, you can go to the walnut. And then,
Okay.
of course, there's always pine nuts.
Yeah, pine nuts are.
I
awesome.
mean, pine nuts are the Cadillac of all nuts as far
Yes,
as I'm
they
concerned.
Sure are. They sure are. So you have to be really careful, I guess, with that. I mean, they're a dense enough fish, but you want to be gentle that you're not breaking it apart right as it starts
That's
to
right.
cook.
And
too,
it
right?
will, I mean, with the flour and the buttermilk, it has formed a bit of a batter, a coating on
Okay.
it, so it will hold it together better than if it was just the fillet.
Sure.
But yeah, you still have to be gentle with it. Fish is, you know, especially fillets, they're fairly gentle.
Okay. So you've just cut a shallot.
I just cut a shallot. I'm going to add that. We're going to have our skillet going in a few minutes. I'm going to finish the fish a little bit further because the bean sprouts, one thing you don't want to do is overcook bean sprouts.
Yes.
They get mushy and soggy. There's a lot of water content in them. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that skillet heat up really, really hot. We're going to put the sesame seed oil in there. And as soon as that sesame seed oil, because sesame seed oil has a very low smoking point, you're going to see it smoke almost instantly. Shallots go in, bean sprouts, a little bit of seasoning.
Awesome.
Good to go.
Now, would be anything else you would put with this that you could think of? Or
You could have, you know what? I could have shaved some carrots into the bean sprouts and actually made it more like a chop suey.
A little bit of Okay.
You could have done that. You know, other things that go really well with this kind of fish, like I'm using a little bit of lemon thyme here, so it gives a little bit of a citrus note.
Sure.
But you could have actually just shaved ginger right into here, and this would have been really nice with ginger as well.
Work. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to take a break. We're going to continue to cook this, and we'll come back and plate it for you. We'll be right back. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives. Welcome back to TERRA at Home. We're back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra and cooking up a storm here, and we have our fish officially
We do. We have the
baked.
peanut crusted fish. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish the dish that we're going to put it with, which is the bean sprouts with some shallots.
Right.
So I have that skillet nice and hot, and I put some sesame seed oil. Now the sesame seed oil is going to add a nice smoky flavor to this.
It changes everything, right? Just simply by using that oil.
Just by using the oil, yeah. And we're going to put the shallots in first.
And as you're mentioning, you could add some fine carrots in there.
Yeah, you can add some
you
carrots in there if you'd like. Yeah, whatever you want. You can add some bean sprouts, peas.
Yes.
Snow peas or snap peas, any of that. If you
Now,
really
you're
want
mentioning
to.
you do not want to overcook these, right? Just because of the high water content, right?
That's right. So we're doing it on nice and high.
I think that comes to anything when you kind of do a quick stir fry like that. It's almost like a quickly cooked. You want the vegetables to still have a little bit of the
crunchiness,
texture,
yes.
right? And it needs to be served right away. It really starts to wilt
and water.
water.
On the plate, it will get really, really watery if you let this sit.
And I'm sure that's a challenge for you in the restaurant too. You got to make sure it gets out there right away.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we just did a quick little
That smells so good.
fry on that. That'll be the base.
Okay.
There we go.
And while you're serving up, just a reminder again, you can find all these recipes on our website at terragreenhouses.com, so you can try these out on your own, which is perfect because we're showing you on a Saturday morning, and then you can go out and get the ingredients after
That's
this, maybe at a
right.
market or wherever, and try something out tonight or tomorrow night for dinner. So peanut crusted, very nice.
Peanut crusted, and I'm going to take that. I'm going to add some crunchiness to that as well.
And that's actually a really straightforward, easy dish.
It is. It is. A little bit of that
And
lemon
because
thyme.
it is World Peanut Day, ode to the peanut.
Ode to the peanut.
Ode to the peanut that we've abandoned because basically we can't really eat it anywhere.
That's right.
So
That's
you gotta
right.
just, if you're in your home and no one else is allergic, go for it. Beautiful. And there we have it. Thank you so much, Chef Mark.
Thank you.
That's it for now. Have yourself a great weekend.